Alright, hello everybody, welcome to Main Chat Nerd Night, where we have a couple of people from the Main Chat Discord. We're going to be playing Dungeons & Dragons together. This Monday session is on their third session. We had to miss one a couple weeks back, but we've been doing a little bit in our gameplay text channel, as you can see here. So to catch everybody up to speed, our characters found themselves bound in chains and led onto a boat. They were transported on that boat after having an altercation with the person in charge and ended up at Hestmark Prison. They were welcomed into the prison, given responsibilities, and they've been working on their responsibilities for most of their time here. Generally speaking, most of their time here has been relatively uneventful. I believe it was the second or third night, a rock actually fell on Tarin and broke his leg. The jailer...
No, it was Deimos, I thought.
Was it
That
Deimos?
was me. That was Deimos.
Oh,
I
I wrote the name down wrong. Oops. It was Deimos. Right, because Tarin is a weakling. Deimos and
He ain't wrong.
the jailer, Atha, an elf, used her Lay on Hands ability to heal him. After they returned to the cells that evening, Deimos antagonized the guard and had a very interesting conversation with them. The next day, Tarin was granted limited use of an arcane focus for his mending. The task he's been assigned has been mending equipment and gear and armor for the prison. Kledash, we'll get to him. Calder has been working in the kitchen. He's been making tenuous friends with the two servant cooks there, not prisoners, by the names of Eudora and Aitor. And Deimos has returned to his work, has been attempting to do as little work as possible and make it look like he's weaker than he is. And we actually pick up tonight's session with Atha approaching Deimos and asking him to sit down so he can take a look at so she can take a look at his leg, which had been damaged the previous day. So
1 second. Swallowed water wrong.
and he dies. So Atha,
And I'm dead. Session over. Good game. I'm out of here. Kidding.
So Atha makes a motion to one of the guards who actually rushes to bring a stool over. She says, "Sit. I'd like to take a look at that leg."
Deimos is gonna very, very awkwardly, well, not very, he's gonna play up the awkwardness and just kind of point over to the rock he's working on.
Don't worry about that. I make the rules here, remember?
All right, fine. And how injured is, or how hurt am I feeling right now?
You wouldn't be at all. Her Lay on Hands almost healed you back to full, and you've had a long rest since then. So, apart from maybe some minor soreness, just from the fact that, you had a rock landing on your leg, largely you've regained full function.
Okay. Right.
And they'll say,
Sure. I'll just.
"This is Atha." Boop.
Yeah. I'll. No shenanigans. I'll just comply.
Really? All right. So as you sit down on the stool, she's in her plate, so it's a little hard for her to actually kneel down. She pulls the leg of your pants up and takes a look, takes note of a little bit of the scratching that still remains, a little bit of the scarring. And you see she reaches up to a small emblem that she has on her chest, and as she does so, her hand glows, and she runs it over what remains of the scarring, and as she lifts her hand up, the scarring has completely disappeared. And she looks back up at you. "I know you don't have much respect for us, but do believe me when I say that I want you all to stay alive. After all, it wouldn't be... It's not my decision to let you die. That will be the decision of our fair king. It's not my responsibility. It is my responsibility to make sure you stay healthy and safe. She...
Yeah, so we can work on this little project of yours for free.
And she gives a little chuckle. Well, now, maybe you shouldn't have broken the law and gotten yourself here then, huh? She stands back up.
Saving your asses is what I was doing.
That's what everyone says. She takes a glance at the guard who shrugs. Clearly this guard doesn't actually know what you did. Well, it's not my place to say what you did or didn't do. Fact of the matter is you're here now. That's what matters.
Deimos will just roll his eyes and... Can I go now?
You may return to your work. Let us know if that gives you any other problems. Let Kron know. He'll come find me. Kron being
Deimos
the
will...
overseer.
Deimos will go back to the rock while muttering under his mouth, sycophantic asshole.
You hear another small chuckle as she turns and goes back into the hallway and back out of sight. All right. So I'm assuming you're returning to your work.
I'm returning to my minimal work as possible.
Your minimal work. All right. Roll deception for me.
Deception modifier is a +1, I believe. Double checking.
Should be charisma.
It's been a while. Yeah, it's a +1. Okay, here we go.
Should be, yes, +1.
5.
5. Fortunately for you, the guard rolled a 4, and they have a +0. Where was that? Was that rolled in Thursday gameplay? Where was that rolled? Oh, you have physical dice. What am I saying?
IRL.
Right, you have physical. You're one of those weirdos with physical dice.
How dare I?
Right. So the guard gives you a look, but has now come to expect that you do very little work, and the work that you do is poor. All right. Shifting gears, we're going back over to Kledash. Kledash, who was brought by Overseer Kron down a hallway on the opposite side of the prison that he was actually trying to get into before. Excuse me. So he was brought in, he went down to the end of the hallway, a failed constitution save later, found himself in the latrine area. Essentially a big pit in the ground. There's a barrel on one side of the room next to the pit with the lid slightly open. And he's been told to go to the cells and collect the buckets from the cells and bring them here. If he didn't know what the buckets were for, he certainly does now. And at this point, Kron is now just turning to walk back out in the hallway.
Okay. So, I've already checked the room. There's nothing there. Let's... I guess the only thing left to do is to look inside the pit and see if there's anything worthwhile.
All right, so the pit has a small, like a plank over it, almost. You lift up the plank. Make a Constitution save for me.
Oh boy.
All right. It takes a bit of effort, and your eyes do water a little bit, but you are able to look down. It is dark. There is what little bit of light coming in from the hallway doesn't quite reach all the way down to the bottom. Remind me, I don't believe Dragonborn have... Do Dragonborn have dark vision? I don't remember. You do not. No one in this group has dark vision.
Nope.
Because it's 3
Maybe
humans and a
two, though.
Dragonborn.
Well, that makes things easier, at least.
Yeah.
Well, for one of us. Go ahead and roll
Well, it just
perception.
means that when I inevitably do get a torch, I'm not blinding anyone.
What was that?
Right.
Roll for perception?
Yeah, roll perception.
Okay. 18.
18. All right, you look down into the pit. You can't look very far, but you can see to what is apparently the surface of matter that has been placed into this pit. You do notice that there are, when you go down, the hole that's in the pit is not a straight shaft going straight down. It does expand outward in the direction of the wall. So it goes down about 10 feet and then outward, and there's just this pile of refuse that actually reaches high enough that you can pretty much see in there. But beyond that, the light that's coming in isn't enough to look very much further than that.
Okay.
Clearly this has been here for quite some time.
So there's no exit chute or anything that I can see?
Not in the darkness, you wouldn't be able to tell.
Alright, so Kledash will pull back and put the lid back on.
Okay, you just let the planks just... It's legitimately just like a couple of boards that you lift up. It's not really a lid per se.
So... let's see.
5 unread messages.
He'll take the... You said there was a cart in the room, right?
Correct. There's a small, like a wagon, basically. A small hand cart. It's got a set of wheels on it. And there's there's a pile of buckets in the room in various states of cleanliness.
Okay.
Most of them are mostly empty.
Okay. Kledash will take he'll just take the cart and he'll start going over towards the barracks area. Or the rooms, the cells.
Yep, so you make your way across the courtyard. As you're doing that, there are some guards that take notice of what you're doing, and they rib each other and have a good laugh at your expense. You make your way up to the dormitories. Here, you get the cart into the hallway, and then you realize wheeled cart and stairwell and a spiral staircase perhaps won't work quite as well as hoped.
Yeah, as figured. So I'll just leave the cart at the base, or not the base of the stairs, but enough so that it's not too hard to get to it, but you can still walk around it if need be.
Okay, yeah, the cart itself is not very wide. The cart's maybe 2 feet wide at the absolute widest. Actually, I'm visualizing a wagon in my head. It's probably about 1.5 feet wide. Wide enough to fit 2 barrels side by side, but 2 buckets side by side, but not enough that if it were placed into a space, it would impede any sort of movement unless you were trying to sprint through that space.
Yeah.
And the way that these rooms are set up, there's some there, there's the staircase there. You can probably just leave it right about there or so. Yep. So I'll put you over there, just to indicate that's where you are. Okay, so as you walk up the staircase, there's nobody in this part of the jail right now. There are no guards at the tops of the stairs. There are no prisoners in their cells because they're out doing work.
Okay, so I'll start doing the job, and as I'm doing it, I'll be inspecting each level, just the rooms, the cells, just trying to get a gauge of the other inmates, if they've left anything or anything that could tip me off about them.
Okay. Roll investigation for me. Fortunately, you don't have to roll stealth because there's no one around you.
Investigation. That's
I think it's intelligence based.
darn 5.
So as you go through, you do notice a couple of the cells do definitely have distinct. What's the word I'm looking for?
Characteristics.
Characteristics, more personalities. The cells have been of the inmates who have been here the longest. You can definitely tell out of the people that you've met, or out of the people you've seen rather. You can definitely tell one person has these like pieces of wood that have been crafted. They look like they've been carved, but you're not able to find like a knife or anything. You see another one has a small circle of rocks in the corner of their cell. And a third actually has a small book in their cell underneath their bed. Surprisingly close to the bucket, and you. Oh, and it is in a language you recognize. You recognize the language as Dwarvish. It's just a storybook, essentially. Storybook for children, but it's written in Dwarvish.
Dwarvish, so...
Some of the other cells, you see various knickknacks that have been collected over time. It doesn't look like the prison has any sort of rules against collecting things in the cell as long as they're not dangerous, as long as they're not like a weapon. There are various knickknacks that have been picked up. In one of the cells, you even find a small pouch containing 1 copper piece in it. But otherwise, not a whole lot going on with a 5. Just basically what you can see as soon as you walk in the room.
Alright, so I will do the job, load the cart up, and then I will take the cart, and instead of going right, I will exit left.
Instead of going
right, I will go left.
down this hallway?
No. So where my character is?
Yes.
Yeah. So that door where the cells are?
Oh, I see. Instead of going right, you're going left. Gotcha.
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay. And as you round the corner, you actually come to what appears to be a flat wall. This is... Were you... Oh, you were in... The first night you were there, were you in the group that was going around looking for stuff?
No, well, as far as I got to the table and helped sort rocks.
That's right. You got to speak to Halen and Erebos. That's right.
Yes.
Roll. Yeah. So you come up to this. It's around a corner and just a dead end right at the end of the hallway.
Okay. I knock on the wall.
Okay. You knock on the wall. It's stone. It's definitely stone. As you're doing this, roll investigation for me.
A 2.
Wow. So you knock on the wall. Nothing seems to shift. It is solid stone. Or at least, when you knock on it, it doesn't sound hollow, I should say.
Alright, I will swing the cart around and I'll go back. Not to the cell, but I'll just be going down that hallway.
This one around the side here?
Yeah.
Okay. So as you... Sorry, I gotta... Oh, jeez. Okay, sorry. As you come around the hallway, you come to the guard quarters. The door, again, is apparently locked at this time of day. You come around the corner here, And this is, I believe, your first time seeing this. There's a small door. I say small. It's about 4 feet tall and made of wood.
Okay.
Just at the end of that hallway. Which I think. How tall are you?
I am 4 feet exactly.
Yeah. So it's
Perfect.
the right height for someone like you. Looks a little small to be in general use, but it's there.
Okay, so I will set the cart down behind me, and I will attempt to open the door slowly, trying to observe to see, being careful of my noise and surroundings.
Okay. You go to open the door. It pushes open, and it actually pushes open easily. There's no resistance. Just a small, very quiet creak. And you look out into the courtyard that has been noted before. You see somebody working a forge. There's somebody working at an anvil, sort of hammering out metals, and there's another person that's smelting bits of broken rock and metal that have been chipped away by the people in the courtyard who are working on that. Now, for the first time, you being the first person to actually see the whole room, you can see that this comes to an end here. From your angle, you can't quite see what is over here, but you do see that this hallway ends there. This way, straight from where you are, is another one of those gates, like the dual lock gates that are in the front. There's a dual lock gate here as well. But at least this gets you into the middle of that gate area.
I will close the door and then go into the courtyard.
Okay. So you close the door, you go back into the courtyard with the, I assume with the wagon with you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Then as I go into the hallway with the pit, I'll go right instead of left.
Okay. Now, as you go to the right, you get around the corner again, and you run into another dead end.
So, just like the last one, I'll try to tap on the wall and investigate it.
Okay, roll investigation for me.
A 10.
All right. So, excuse me. As you're knocking on the wall, you notice something very interesting about the texture of the rock. In that the rock material that you're tapping, again, sounds solid, is... You run your fingers over the crack between two rocks, and your fingers don't dip the way you expect them to. As if there's a surface underneath that you can't quite see.
Okay.
But beyond that, that's about all you can gather from a 10. You work your way over to the edge of the wall, and it does sort of flow naturally into the wall. But again, as you touch the corners, you notice that your fingers this time actually go slightly into the rock. You pull your fingers out, nothing changes. Your claws.
Yeah.
And as you're making this investigation, you hear the door that you had walked through start to open up.
Okay. I drop what I'm doing. I pick up the cart and I start walking down the hallway towards the pit.
Okay. You start walking down the hallway. As you round the corner, you see one of the guards that was standing at the doorway had sort of peeked his head in. Oi! You're not allowed back there!
I sort of jiggle the cart just as sort of a show off of what I'm doing.
Mhm.
Man, I just took a wrong turn. So
Okay. Well, don't let it happen again. He is now standing in the doorway, watching you. He doesn't sort of approach you, but he is keeping his eye on you.
I walk past him while keeping eye contact, and I walk over to the.
As you go
Absolute
by.
power move. Absolute power move.
While keeping eye contact, I walk past him, and then as I pass the door, I look forward and go into the room with the pit.
Okay. When you walk into the room, the guard goes back out into the courtyard.
Okay.
At this point, it's taken about, I would estimate, half an hour to do all of this. Not a particularly strenuous job.
Okay. Am I aware of where Tarin is?
Of where Tarin is, Tarin went out into the courtyard before you did. I will say, as you're walking, I will retcon slightly. As you're walking through the courtyard, make a perception check.
Okay.
Unfortunately, you do not see where Tarin is. Speaking
Okay.
of, I'll put people back where they are. Unfortunately, you do not see where Tarin is at this point. Now, of the rooms that you went to, you retrieved probably 6 out of the 10 that had been used. So because the cart doesn't hold that much.
Okay. So I'll get to work. Let's see. I guess I'll just open up the pit and then try to empty the cart into the pit.
Just dump the whole cart in?
Yes.
Okay. You open up the pit. This time you're ready, so you don't have to roll for it. You know what's coming, and you bring the cart up to the edge of the pit, tip it over, and the 6 buckets that you had collected just tumble down into the pit. You hear them splat into the refuse below.
Boy.
It's like you ever heard somebody you ever heard somebody like punch wet dough? It's like that sound. Like
Uh-huh. Okay, I guess I will
tapioca.
I'll
Sorry, I'm done.
go back into the courtyard and go back to the cells, and I'll do another perception check for Tarin again.
Okay. Go as you're walking through the courtyard. Go ahead and roll perception. You do have a vague idea because he's probably not in the courtyard. He might be above. That's what
10.
you can gather. But 10. Oh, the thing didn't update. That's unfortunate. There we go. Yeah, as you're walking through the courtyard, let's see. Does mending? I'm just trying to remember if mending is
A visual spell?
Oh, good God, my thing crashed again. If it like causes light or anything, I don't think it does. I think it just mends the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately with a 10 you wouldn't necessarily see, because he, being where he is on the wall, he's just out of eyesight.
Okay.
So, as the player, I will tell you that you know where he is, but unfortunately, Kledash does not see him.
Yeah, I'll follow through. Okay, so I'll just go back into the cells and get those last 4 buckets.
Okay. You go up, last 4 buckets, they're all 4 of them were on the ground floor that you'd left behind. I will say, and then you grab them and you load them onto the cart. And then I'll assume you make your way back out and throw them in the pit as well. Kledash.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to
Okay.
think about next move. Yeah, I'll just head back to the... Actually, let's go back to the 4-foot door, and I will
Okay. Do you bring the cart with you?
open it again. Yeah, I'll bring the cart with me, then I'll
Okay.
open it up.
You bring the cart around the corner, and you tuck it so it's not quite visible from the doorway. You peek through the wooden doorway again.
Mhm.
Same thing you saw before. You see somebody, a couple of people that you don't recognize as prisoners,
Mhm.
working in the area back there. I will say, roll a perception check for me.
$19.
Okay. So this time you're able to make out a little bit more, and actually what you see from the inside of this hallway, you see a what looks to be some kind of I moved the character out of the way so you can see, almost like a lever on the wall opposite you, and it appears to be attached to a pair of chains. One of them goes up, the other one goes up on either side of the gate that feed into this gate mechanism.
Okay. Is this a big arm lever, or is this a hand lever?
It's a pretty large arm lever. I'd say probably about foot and a half long. It's currently in the upward position.
Okay. I will, as I leave the door open, I will
Okay.
try to go into that next room without being seen.
Okay. Make a stealth check.
16.
All right. So you slip into the hallway. The black scales of your Dragonborn body work into your advantage, as this particular hallway doesn't have a lot of light in it. You do slip into the hallway, and as you turn, you actually look and you see the rear side of the door that you had just come through looks like a piece of stone.
Okay. I will...
Oh, and I'm sorry, with a 19 perception before this, backing up just a minute, you do notice that on one side of the doorway there's a rune etched into the wood towards where the hinge is on the other wooden side. Anyway, so you get into this hallway.
I will go to...
Sorry, you do see
what was
two
that?
guards on the other side of the gate on this side. They are both looking away from you, and they do not seem to take notice.
Okay. I'll do a perception on the... Not the guards, but the other direction. Everyone in the forge room.
This direction? Okay.
Yep.
I'm trying to think of what you haven't seen already.
Just trying to check features, what they look like, just gauge
Okay.
whatever I can off of sight.
Alrighty. I will say you don't have to roll for this one because you're in pretty much direct line of sight.
Yeah.
You do see, so there's 3 individuals from what you can see. One person at an anvil, one person at the forge, and one person at what looks to be kind of a forge, but it's not lit with fire. They just kind of place the metal that you know as Electrum now from your time here in the prison into sort of a block, and that it sublimates down into bricks, almost as if on their own. The person
Melts?
Yep. The metal seems to... They place a pile of the metal into a bowl, and it just melts out the bottom of the bowl into a mold. The person at the forge, they appear to be a human, roughly 6 feet or so. It's kind of hard to tell because the way that they're bent over the forge constantly, wearing a leather apron. They've got a pair of very thick leather gloves on, black wiry hair, and they're facing away from you. The person at the anvil, so I should mark these off. So forge, anvil, and then this sort of smelting area. The person at the anvil is facing towards you, but he's not looking at you. He's focused down, and he appears to be hammering out some sort of blade. I will say for this, actually, make a perception check. Just a small detail. Okay. So he seems to be hammering out some sort of blade. It looks to be maybe a short sword, something of that nature. And then as I mentioned, the third person again is actually, their back is to this wall and they're facing in your direction, but they're not really looking out this way. They're more focused on taking these chips or bent and broken pieces of the metal that you know as Electrum, which a giant pile is here in the courtyard. And he places these individual chips into a stone bowl. Once it reaches a certain point, the whole thing just sort of melts down. He doesn't say anything, doesn't seem to do anything, but it just sort of melts down into this mold. And then he sets the mold to the side, picks up another one, puts it up, and continues his work. None of them... Yeah, that's a 1 and that's a 4, so the two that are facing you don't seem to take any notice of you either. They're just too intently focused on their work. And if you... I will say you're making this check from roughly the middle of the hallway. If you want to get right up to the bars and try and look to either side, you can do that. I'd say you'd have to make another stealth check. If that's something you want to do.
I'm good for now. I will back through the door and then just go back to the pit.
Okay, so you make your way out. You close the door behind you carefully. Make an Arcana check for me, if you would. Just as you glance at that rune. Okay. You don't know what it is. I think, was that the... Oh, have you not rolled it yet?
No, I haven't.
Well,
but, you know.
Yeah, it's...
They're cursed, I tell you. They're cursed.
So
Get yourself some physical die.
So I will say, it's not one you recognize, and that does stand out to you, because as you recall, you guys did find a rune on the back of the prisoner quarters doors. It's not that one. It is a different sigil or rune.
Okay.
But it is not one you recognize. So you make your way out, back out into the courtyard. You go back to the pit. Turn the cart over, dump the 4 buckets into the pit. Refuse and buckets together.
Okay. So now that I'm done, I will...
I believe Kron told you to come find him.
Yeah. Alright, I'll just exit into the courtyard and search for Kron.
Okay. Kron's not hard to find. He's pretty much right in the middle of the courtyard. Just sort of keeping a vague watch. I did mention this to... I think it was Tarin was keeping an eye out. Kron isn't there all the time. He does make his presence known every couple of days. So finding him Fortunately, he happened to be in the mood to remind the prisoners of their place. So as you walk out into the courtyard, you see Kron. You approach him, and he says, "All right, done then."
Shit's taken care of.
You know, when you're not getting me in trouble, you can actually be pretty nice. Just don't be a piece of shit next time, got it?
Hold out my hands in sort of a shrugging manner. I used to be an entertainer. Can't help it.
Used to be.
Well, before I became a prisoner.
What, were you some court jester and pissed someone off?
Nah, just a wanderer.
Really? What'd you do?
Ah, played the lute. Should be part of my stuff.
Your stuff. Well, we didn't get any of your stuff, so fortunately for you. Let me see. He thinks for a second, and you can see he's not pleased with you. He's definitely still annoyed at the fact that you got in trouble, but he has seemed to have calmed down somewhat now that he's gotten back at you. He glances about the courtyard. He looks back to you and looks you up and down. You don't look particularly strong. What can you do? You know, you told me you could spit acid before.
And I didn't want to repeat myself, but man, would
And-
that be funny?
And that didn't work out, so not that one. What else can you do?
I fold my arms and I say while smiling, I did say I can entertain.
Well, there's not much market for that here, is there? Where's my... I lost the page of shit for you guys to do.
Sweet, that means we can run amok, right?
Yes, you guys are free to go. No. Oh, there it is. We don't have any specialty tasks for you, but he sort of gives you a sidelong look. Why don't we put you over there? And he nods over toward a... Oh, let me mark it on the map. There's a table on this side. I believe that's where you were before, right? You were sorting?
Yeah, rock sorting.
Rock sorting. You seem to get on well with them. Why don't you go back to them? Don't kick up any trouble, for fuck's sake.
Kledash does a half-hearted salute. Roger that, and walks over to the table.
Okay. So as you walk over, Halen, who you were speaking to before, raises his hand in greeting and says, I saw that you saw that you got the shit end of the deal, eh?
Yeah, definitely the shit end of the deal. You could say that.
He sort of gives you a look. That's what I said. He turns and sort of takes a pile of the small rubble and pushes it over towards you. Well, get on then.
Alright. I'm assuming just like last time there's a guard there at the table?
There isn't a guard at the table itself. There is the guard that was at this doorway.
Okay.
He's sort of keeping an eye on the courtyard and on you, and on the courtyard and on you. He's sort of directing his attention, and mostly at you guys, because you happen to be the prisoners nearest to him. But you're not his only focus.
Alright, so as Kledash starts to rock sort, he'll try to sort of mumble out some words to Halen.
Okay.
Of course, without the guard noticing.
Okay. Make. Is it anything of substance, or you just sort of?
It's basically I found something. Let's talk tonight about it.
Okay. I will say, make a stealth check.
10.
The guard rolled a 22, but with disadvantage because he's not paying attention. The other roll was a 1. So, well, it was a 3 because they have +2, but this particular one. But lucky you. So you mutter across the table that you seen something. What do you mean you see something? Excuse me, let me do a stage whisper on that one so you can actually hear me. What do you mean you saw something?
I said I saw something. Talk about it tonight.
Well, why not now?
Because of him. I just sort of, slyly nod to the guard at the door.
Okay, yeah, so the guard at the door is behind you, and Halen's on the other side of the table. So you sort of just
back
nudge.
the head up a bit.
Yeah. Okay. Halen looks up. Aye. Tonight then. During the rec hour.
Kledash nods.
Okay. Anybody else for today? I believe, let's see. It was Tarin and Calder. You both had tasks that were going to be taken up the whole week. Is there anything in particular you would like to do today? Otherwise, I'll basically just do a time skip from now till the evening.
I would like to actually no, never mind. I can't think of anything. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then Calder, I know you were working on getting into Erebos and
It's called making friends and
Yes.
networking. That's the one.
yes, you were
That one took me
networking.
so long to remember.
Okay. So I will say just for the time being, I'll do Kledash's thing this evening, and then I'll skip ahead a few days if nobody has any objections till the end of everyone's tasking that we were talking about during the break. So sorry, viewers, this is not something that we've really talked about yet.
I'm good.
Okay. Okay, so you all wrap up your tasking. You get your meals. You come back to your dormitories to eat your meals, and you realize you don't have a bucket. And you took the buckets and you dumped them in the pit. And there's no bucket anymore. You have no buckets in your cells.
Good job.
One of the
Okay, I guess I should have iterated what I was doing better. Never mind.
That's
Okay.
It is now Alden, the one that I think Tarin was speaking to earlier, the one that can was moving the dirt around. He was given limited magic
that's
access.
the one I was talking to.
He's the one that actually goes to Kron and says, we don't have anywhere to. There's no. He sort of motions into the cell, and Kron looks in. That fucking lizard. He makes his way over, and and one of the guards comes by with just like a pile of buckets in the cart.
I didn't even think about. I didn't even think about how I just figured I was throwing it from the bucket into the cart. I didn't even think about how it was going.
You said you said you dumped out the cart. and that evening
Everyone press F to pay respects.
that's what you said, man. That's what you said.
That's an F moment right there.
Oh my.
This
So-
ultimate bra moment.
As dinner draws to a close, if you recall, after dinner is that one hour or so of free recreation. We have Kledash is going to go to meet Halen. But before you have the opportunity, you're walking over to Halen. Halen is currently in his cell. So you're making your way down. His is 2 cells down, 2 floors down rather. As you're going down the stairs, Kron comes up the stairs, and he stops you on the stairwell, and he puts a finger right up against your lizard snout. It's not really a nose per se, I don't think. I'll have to look at the Dragonborn description, but he goes right up into your face and say, "You don't fuck with me again, lizard." And at that, as he's doing that, you see he's quite upset. But he then shakes his head and just descends the stairs back out into the courtyard. So you make your way down to where Halen is. Halen is in his cell, reading that book in Dwarven. Wait. Make sure I got this correct. Am I getting the wrong? Did I say the wrong person? Oh, my mistake. I read the wrong line. It's Deimos that speaks Dwarvish. Kledash, you speak Draconic, so it's a language that you don't know. But the book that you found earlier in the language that you don't recognize, Halen is reading it in his cell when you approach. And of note, there is a guard. Because this is the evening recreation, there's a guard at the top of the stairwell on every floor.
Okay.
So you go into Halen's cell. Halen sees you approach, closes the book, and tucks it behind him. Should probably go to the yard, eh?
Yeah, let's go.
He nods and he stands up. And you both make your way down into the courtyard. Now, of note, in the evening time, there's only 3 guards. 1 at either door, and there's 1 at the gate.
Okay.
At least.
Are we the only 2 out in the courtyard?
No. You see, what's his name? You see Alden sitting here, just sort of playing with the dirt with his little magical abilities. And you see a couple of other people. Let's see. You see Cadmos and Epimetheus, who were the 2 of the people that were chipping away stone, are actually sitting down with their backs to the stone, looking up into the sky. But otherwise, nobody really seemed to be paying attention.
Alright, so I'll kind of motion to Halen that we'll sit at the table.
Okay.
We'll sit opposite sides from each other. Halen will sit closer to the guard.
Okay, so you'll position yourself so that your back is to the wall, and Halen is facing you. Got it?
Yeah.
So, what'd you find?
So, there's some walls here. They're not actually walls.
Okay. What do you mean?
I mean, I was on shit duty. I ran into some walls, and I just kind of looked at them, but they're...
You ran into some walls? Can you not see?
No, you don't get it. I got to the walls, and then I looked at them, and when I tried to touch them, my hands were able to sink into them a bit. Just a bit.
He sort of gives you a sidelong look. You know, I've been here going on 5 years. I ain't never seen nothing like that.
I just sort of give a like a miniature shrug and say, "Well, I found it today, so I don't know how new it is."
Where were these walls?
One was left of the cell area, and the other one was right of the hallway for the shit chute. Plus, there's something else.
There and there, yeah.
Plus, there's something else. If you were to go right after the jail cells, there's a door.
What
It's
you
about
mean?
4 feet tall.
What you mean? What you mean? So he sort of shushes himself. The guard glances over and just shakes his head and keeps looking back over the courtyard. What you mean a door? That hallway
It's
just
small.
it just comes to an end.
I shake my head. No, there's a small door there, about 4 feet tall, perfect for me, but it goes into the smelting area.
You're saying there's a way to get out into the craft yard?
I nod. Now, I only know one person that could probably get through, and it's that mage guy that came in with me. We should get him to look at him.
Hi, Tarin.
Oh, sorry, I
That's-
was looking at something.
we haven't pulled you up yet, but sounds like you're coming into the fold. And perhaps we'd best get Alden in on this too. He nods across the courtyard to the opposite corner where Alden has at this point has a small like orb of dirt that he's just hovering over his fingers.
I nod. Good idea.
This place, I've told you before, even if you get out, something keeps you coming back. I don't know what it is. And as he's sighing, he's shaking his head. Just a reminder, because it's been 3 weeks. He described last time how he'd seen people get outside the walls and then turn around and come back.
I nod and I say, now, I don't know what it is, but we'll have to figure out what that is and get rid of it before we do anything. I have the weirdest feeling it's through one of those weird walls.
I tell you what. I know these guards. Kron, he trusts me. I'll take a look tomorrow at your wall. See what I can see. And meet you again tomorrow, eh?
Aye, but I don't know. I think the mages should look at it first since they're, better at magic and stuff.
He shakes his head. Fucking magic. Every time. Every time it's fucking magic.
Shrugs. I'm afraid so.
He takes one of the loose stones that had been left behind and just sort of rolls it around on the table. Alright. Well, once you come up with something, once you think you know what's going on, you let me know, eh? I'll be goddamned before I get... I'll be goddamned if I never see the mountains again.
Kledash nods. I need to get out of here too. Let's split up who we ask. You
Why
go
do you
for Alden. I'll go for Tarin.
He looks across the courtyard. He's a weird one. I'll do what I can.
I just assume he knows you better since you've been here longer. Tarin and I came in together, so I feel like he would be better, more receptive to me.
I think I've said a grand total of 2 words to him. The first night he came here, about a year ago, was fuck off. He did. He listened to me.
Yeah, I guess it's time
But-
to make it a grand total of a few more.
But if you think you found a way out of here, I'll talk to him. See what he knows. And as you're having this conversation, the guard at the door has been noticing you've been having a hushed conversation, He
Okay.
doesn't say anything to you. He doesn't say anything to you too, but he does sort of wander a little closer. No sort of threatening motion, doesn't have his hands on any of his weapons, but he does sort of wander sort of over towards the table.
Is it very noticeable that he's doing that?
Oh, he's not hiding it. He's making no
Okay.
attempt to hide the fact that he's walking towards you.
Mhm.
And he stops
So-
about 4 feet from the table. Doesn't
Okay.
say anything, just kind of reminds you that he's there.
So while I was on shit duty, I noticed that there was a book in your cell. Just randomly shifting the conversation after noticing.
Hi. It's the Tales of Old Greta. They let me keep one thing. It's a book. It's stories that we tell the dwarven kids. There's not much else that we're allowed to read, so I keep it in my cell. I gave it to my son, and my son gave it back to me before I came here, so...
So, in an effort to sort of bore the guard, Kledash just smiles and says, "Well, tell me the story."
Well, there's lots of stories, but one of the longest ones that I can think of, he catches what you're trying to do. Many generations ago, well before the gods, and he sort of rambles off onto this conversation, off on the story of the creation myth of the dwarves, as it were. Okay. Does anyone have anything else you're going to be doing this evening?
I
Otherwise-
was honestly probably just gonna like see around a bit more, like check for more runes, like sort like I've been doing for the past few nights with my character. So
Okay. Yep. You've
yeah,
been
more runes.
excuse me. Yeah, you've been looking around. So of note, as you're wandering around, you do actually get down to the end of this hallway. As you've been wandering the past couple nights, that wall was solid stone, is now that wooden door. Roll investigation for me.
All right, let me pull up my thing, and investigation is intelligence,
I believe so.
if
And-
I'm right.
And if you're proficient in it, but otherwise.
Yeah, so it's a bonus of
Oh, do you have expertise? You might have expertise. I don't remember.
Sorry, sometimes my audio stuff cuts out.
Noted.
Anyways, you said investigation.
Yes.
It is 9.
9. Okay. Wasn't that high of a DC. So, as you come around the corner, you notice it actually stands out to you because this wall was solid wood before. You do now notice that there's a small rune etched on the side of the doorway, that now, the 4-foot wooden doorway that now sits in front of you. Roll... I'm trying to think. Roll Arcana for me.
All right, good thing I'm proficient in that.
Yep.
Okay, 15 with a bonus of 5.
Okay, so you rolled a 20 total. You do.
No, I rolled a 15, but I got a 20 because of my special bonus that I have. I'm proficient in Arcana.
Right. So, a proficiency mod plus intelligence. Yeah. So, as you're looking at this rune, you recognize it. It is the first. Every asterisk, every divine magic, or every arcane magic spell, everyone does it a little bit differently. All wizards use their own arcane runes, but you do recognize this sigil. Just trying to remember what languages you know.
I know Elvish and Common.
Yeah, so you'd recognize this as an Elvish rune. It is the first letter of the word that you can probably assume to be illusion. It's usually on Elvish books of magic. It's the rune that marks the sections of the books indicating the school of illusion. And you recognize that the rune is very crudely etched into the wood. Was probably not put there by the person who built this door.
All right. So an illusion door. That's an interesting find.
All right.
So
And then as you're
possible
searching,
way.
sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, since I found this door, I was gonna see, like, if I were to let's see, how far down? If I were to try and look through, like, open the door, what would I have to roll to, like, be able to, like, would it be like a stealth thing? Since I'm assuming someone would be there. I'm trying to
You
get
try not to be seen. Yeah, that would be a stealth roll.
stealth, so I can try and get through the door. And a stealth, that is at 23.
Okay. So you open the door. It's very quiet creak. You open the door. You peek outside. So you see essentially what Kledash saw before. There's a doorway here. Right here. You look out. You see the bars that are closed here, and you look out. There's a forge with the smoldering ashes. There's an anvil here, and there's a couple of just tools on a table over here. Roll perception for me.
Alright. So 17. 19.
Plus your wisdom. Okay, so 19. You do also, as Tarin noted before, there's a lever on this door, this wall opposite you.
That was Kledash. I'm
Did
Tarin.
I say your Tarin? Sorry, Kledash. That Kledash saw earlier. And you do, as it's the same roll that he got, you do note that it does seem to be attached to the mechanism responsible for opening and closing these bars. You do not see anyone in this courtyard.
Alright.
It is starting to get on towards sundown.
Well then I get out and go continue my wandering if I still have time.
Okay, yeah, you'd have about half an hour of time or so. Make just sort of generally wandering around. Make a perception check.
Alright, let's
Of note, there are some areas that you're still not allowed into. So
alright, I get an 8.
an 8. Okay. Nothing beyond what you've already seen. You have noted the pattern of the guards. Previously, you have noted the sort of general rotation that they have. You did notice the general mechanism of the gates seems to be chain powered, and the chains are on the insides of these dual lock systems. But beyond that, you wouldn't have been able to notice anything more with an 8 and at dusk. So.
Alright, well then, how much more time does that eat up of the time we had for half an hour? Like, how much more does that?
I would say that would have eaten up the rest of the time.
Alright, well then I head back to my...
Okay, so everybody starts making their way back up to their cells, and curfew is enforced. Everyone is locked into their cells for the evening, and each of you returns to your now bucketed cells. The same guard it's been the same guard every night is at the top of the stairs with you, and the small bullseye lantern that he has is dimmed for the evening, and you all, I assume, go to sleep. If not, let me know. Okay, so you guys all go to sleep. You wake up the next morning, same as before. The guard, not the same guard, but one of the guards comes up, taps his baton, taps his club up against the bars to wake you all up, and you all are brought down for the morning report rather, and you are given your breakfast, and you move on with the rest of your day. I will say the next 2 days, and then that will catch everybody up to each other. Is there anything special that you would like to do? I know, Kledash, you have to have a conversation with Tarin, while Halen is having a conversation with Alden. Is there anything else that you guys would like to have done for the next 2 days or so, and then that will catch everybody up to the same time point? Okay, so, Kledash, when would you like to approach Tarin?
Well, I was speaking with Halen the night before. I think talking to him daytime would be risky, so I'll be talking to him the next day, the following evening.
Okay, during that free time?
Yeah, the free time.
Okay, so skipping forward to that time period, I'm going to change soundtracks because I'm tired of listening to this one. Skipping forward to the next evening, you all have a relatively uneventful day. Calder, actually, you do notice for the first time that you are asked to use some of the spices that you found while you were doing your search.
Okay.
Just of note, you haven't noticed that very many spices be used in these meals before. You were asked to use them for the first time. Excuse me. The guard says, special request of the jailer. So there's a collection of various spices in there that you find. Otherwise, uneventful day. And as the evening rolls around, you all have your dinners. Calder, as the guard comes up to give you your dinner, he gives you a look of contempt and tosses the plate at you. You do notice that it has one more slice of what appears to be the meat that you were preparing for the guards on it. Just your plate, nobody else's.
My plate.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Interesting. I take it my plan is probably working.
So each of you is you finish your dinners, you go off and you do your evening activities. And Tarin, what are you doing this evening? Are you doing your rounds?
Yeah. Same thing as normal.
Okay. So you go down to the bottom of the stairs and you start to go out to your rounds when Kledash, when would you like to approach him? I know it was this time, just before he goes out or during his rounds?
Yeah, so basically we would be on evening break and then I would try to find him.
Okay, so it's not hard to find him. You live in the same dorm area, so he goes down to the bottom of the stairs and you catch up to him as he starts sort of wandering the grounds. Somewhat inconspicuously, but you do notice that he's taking a keen interest to various parts of the prison, so you catch up to him while he's in the courtyard.
And
just for reference, I'm gonna plonk down where the three guards are. There's one there, and one there.
Oh, shit's getting real. We seen guards.
Just for reference.
So I'll just tug on his pant leg since I'm so short. I'll just sort of and
my character was confused and just be like, "Oh, hello there. What was your name again? I know you're a prisoner. I just don't happen to remember your name."
It's Kledash, but in a hushed tone. We need to talk.
All right then. Let's find somewhere the less onlookers.
I nod.
All right.
I motion to the table.
Of note, Halen is not at the table.
Yes,
Halen
thank you.
is talking to Alden in the opposite corner.
Okay.
I would nod at Kledash and walk over to the table.
Okay. How would you like to arrange yourselves?
I was thinking like it would be like sort of so we would be looking at each other directly, like on opposite sides. Maybe is what I was thinking.
Yeah, same as when Halen and I were talking. I'll be in the same
Okay.
spot.
So he'll just be where Halen is. Okay. So
Yeah.
Tarin, your back is to the wall. You're looking out at the courtyard, well, with Kledash in front of you. Behind you is one of the guards. It is a different guard than the previous evening. That guard is actually on the other side, watching the dormitory doors.
Same as before, is having us switch positions because I was looking out on opposite
So
sides of the
what is
table.
it you needed to talk to
Yes.
me
Yep.
about?
Yes. Okay. I will have both of you roll stealth checks for me.
Okay.
All right.
Just
And
to see.
16. Plus, let me check my stealth modifier. Oh, it's 16, 17. It's a 19.
I got
Don't
a 13.
worry. You're fine. This is what the guard rolled.
Okay.
As long as you didn't roll a 2.
Yeah.
So,
Oh wow, the guards really don't care.
It was impossible for
No,
me
they
to
get
roll
paid
lower.
minimum wage. Of course they don't give a shit.
Although we're just distracted by something else that was going on.
you think they get paid? Sorry, go on.
I was about to say +5. There's no way I could feel that then.
Right.
But,
so, as you're
so-
having this conversation, the guard, you take a peek over, and the guard doesn't take any notice of you.
So Kledash just leans in. He says, "I know you've been running around looking at some of the things around here. What have you seen?"
Well, besides the alarm room, I saw an illusion door. Just like a wooden door that originally was stone. At least that's one of the things I've noticed around here.
Kledash nods. You've seen that too?
Yeah, it was, I like try and motion to like the general area it was. It was somewhere around there.
Kledash nods and he whispers, "I know you're a magic user. Do you have any idea what it said on those doors?"
It's, all it said was a rune related to a. Other than that, I haven't a clue.
He holds a finger up to his lip. Do you have any divination or anything? Can you tell what it is?
Well, I should have tried detecting what it is. Good point. Shall we go see what all it was?
I nod. Yeah, sometime. There's also one more thing.
Yes.
There's some stone walls in the corridors. They're also an illusion, I think.
Oh, I might actually want to see what those are. Can you give me like a general area that I should go?
Left of the cells.
Alright, left of the cells. Got it.
Alright. Meet back here tomorrow?
Yeah, tomorrow.
Kledash nods and he gets up from his seat. Just carries on with the night, doing
Okay.
whatever.
So you go off and do whatever.
I would go back to where I found that wooden door if I have the time and try and use detect magic.
Okay. Roll stealth.
Alright.
There's a verbal component. You just have to make sure that you're able to say it quietly enough.
Yep. And that is a.
I'm sorry? You cut out a little bit.
10.
Was it 10?
So, I hope the DC is low.
Okay. So you successfully cast detect magic in this area, and as you concentrate, you don't sense any magic. Let's see. Yeah, within 30 feet, or blocked by 1 foot of stone. Yeah. As you complete the spell, you do not sense any magic in this area right here.
Oh, well, I would sort of just shake my head, go back to sort of making my round.
Okay. Are you going to maintain concentration as you make your rounds?
Yeah, I'll maintain concentration.
Okay. As you walk past the dormitory door, you actually do detect what kind of magic is this? I don't remember. Hold on 1 second while I look up the spell so I give you an accurate thing here. Oops. Abjuration. You do detect the presence of abjuration magic as you walk past the dormitory door. And if you take a second and you focus in, and it is indeed centered on the door and the rune that's carved into it.
Would I know specifically what spell?
Detect magic tells you what the school is and whether it's there or not. It doesn't tell you what the spell is. I believe I already had you make an Arcana check on the rune itself,
Oh.
And unfortunately you were not able to identify it. For reference, abjuration is like warding, shielding, that type of magic.
Yeah, I was wondering, could I go and make another Arcana check if I failed the previous one? Because I do want to try it. Like, if I passed it, then there's no use, but if I didn't pass, I might as well check again.
I would say because you failed the previous check, you can make the check again with disadvantage.
Alright, and disadvantage is take the lowest roll and no bonus.
There you do add your bonuses. You just roll twice, take the lower of the two, and then add your bonuses.
Alright, let me grab a second d20, so this is...
Or you can roll it twice, doesn't matter.
Yeah, but I'm just, like, grabbing... I need to sort these at some point, is what I've learned.
Do you?
Yes, I very much do. And now I have two d20s. I will roll and 16.
So 16. Alright. It is not a spell you are familiar with, but you do recognize it as a... there's definitely some kind of... how do I describe this? There is an aura, and as you... because of the detect magic combined with your knowledge of the arcane, as you approach the door and reach out to touch it, you do sense the magic flare slightly as it's activated. You step away, that flare disappears.
My character
Sort of
would
a combination
just
of
sort
both
of
your knowledge of the arcane and the detect magic spell working in conjunction.
yeah.
Not usually how detect magic works, but
Yeah. And then I would after checking on that, if there's any time, continue making my rounds.
okay. Yeah, this evening I'll say after your conversation there's not a lot of time left, but you can make a quick perception check if you would like.
Yeah, I'll do that. And let's roll. It is a... Oh, no, it's 5.
5. Yeah, this evening, unfortunately, as you walk around, there's just not enough time left, and the sun is setting a little bit earlier. You don't really see anything more than what you've already seen. Okay, so the end of this evening wraps up. Kledash, as you're going back to the bed, back to your dormitory, why am I blanking on his name? Halen, stops you as you're getting up to his level. He stops you and he just nods, and then returns back to his bed.
Okay. Kledash, as he walks up to his room, he just kind of mutters under his breath, "Things coming together."
Okay. So, night comes to you all. You all find yourself to sleep. As you're getting used to these beds, you are finding it easier to actually get to sleep. And each of you wakes very well rested for the first time in a long time. Okay. So everyone is now at the same time point. Is there anything in particular
Time
you guys...
travel.
Yes, pseudo time travel. Just going down the list. Calder, is anything in particular you'd like to do today, beyond what you've already been doing?
Not really.
Okay.
I've kind of got something else in my mind right now. My girlfriend has decided to start cooking something, and I can't stand the smell of it.
Oh no.
Yeah, my autism means I'm hypersensitive to certain smells, and she started cooking something which something in there is just terrible. It's so bad I might need to leave the flat soon.
Roll of concentration. No. Okay, so you've been talking to Aitor and Eudora, and they are definitely more cordial towards you.
Pretty sure Eudora is the one that cooked it.
Nothing in particular comes up today. No special requests this time. Of note, as before, the guard that's with you does seem to be turning more of a blind eye as you, quote unquote, taste test the food, or perhaps have a drink of the limited amount of mead that's in the barrels. He does. No longer do you really have to sneak anything by. Aitor and Eudora are more or less openly sharing food and sharing drink with you. And the guard seems to... It definitely knows what's going on, but doesn't seem to be doing anything about it.
It's not worth his pay.
So you guys have been here for about a week now. Deimos
I was under the impression they got no pay.
So Deimos, is there anything in particular you'd like to do today?
Not really.
Okay, so you continue on. Are you going to continue with the charade?
Yep, I'm gonna continue with the charade.
All right, roll deception for me.
7.
7. All right. Once again, as you go to make motions, the guard comes up behind you actually and pushes you roughly down into the rock. And he says to you, "Listen, I don't know what your game is, but can you just do your work for once? For once." Of note, this guard has caught you 3 times now. Oh, I have someone subscribed. Thanks, Kevin2533, whoever the hell that is. Anyway, so he does that, and he as he does so, one of the other guards sort of mutters something in his ear, and he just shakes his head and steps back.
Asshole.
And now you can see this first guard, his hand is clenched on his sword. He's looking at the other guard, and the other guard is shaking his head like, no. And he's got his hand just very, tightly clenched around his... Not sword, sorry, these guys don't have swords. On his club that's at his side.
I will continue to do my barely work, but not before giving him the shittiest eating grin I can muster.
All right, roll deception with disadvantage.
So 12, or rather 13 and 15, so 13.
So 13, and then you don't have any... I think you have a +1 to your charisma, right?
No, that's what the...
that's what you rolled.
The,
you rolled an 11. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that time once again, so this is actually the third time you've done this. He does that, and you continue working, and he doesn't seem to notice that you've been doing your slacking off. Kledash, is there anything in particular you'd like to do today? You have returned to the sorting table.
Yeah, at the sorting table, I'll check the surroundings and see if there are any guards nearby.
Okay, yeah, let me actually put these out because I forgot to. There's 2 there, 1 there, 2 there, and 1 there. So there's one at either door, and then 2 at either gate. That's
Okay.
that's the guard positioning during the day. Nope, wasn't you. It was Tarin. So never mind. Who noted some other guard positions up above, but you have not noticed those yet.
Okay, so
The walls
while
are
we're
about
sorting rocks,
15, 20 feet high. So
while we're sorting rocks, I sort of, try to talk to Halen without being noticed.
okay. Roll deception. Deception. What am I saying? Sorry, stealth.
9.
I will say, because it's the same bonus, I'll take the earlier roll because you already rolled. Because it's the same bonus.
Oh.
I think. Did you? Or am I reading my own chat room wrong?
No,
Oh, no, that
the
was
9
from-
is the
that was
most
from-
recent. Yeah,
That was from way
the last
earlier.
time.
Okay, yeah. So a 9. So as you start to make conversation, you do notice that this guard has sort of strolled over to this side of the table. So Halen and Erebos are both there with you. Sorting rock.
All right. So I'll just lean over to Halen and just tell him, how'd your recruiting go?
The Halen glances up at the guard. Well, let's say I've been on friendlier terms with someone, but they seem friendlier now.
Nod. That's good. Tarin and I working pretty well, so.
That's good to hear. Good to hear that we're all getting along. He raises his voice up a pitch as the guard is just sort of hovering over you guys. It's good that we're all getting along here.
Kledash notices, nods, and just gets back to sorting rocks.
Okay. About 10-15 minutes go by of silence, and the guard returns back to his post over there. Okay. So any other conversation you'd like to strike up during this time, or later on?
I'd say the only thing would be just sort of I would try to acknowledge to Halen that we would talk later tonight, whether it through I'll try to.
Aw,
I
thanks,
don't know if there's
mine.
a good way to gesture.
Thanks,
I think it would
mine
just be
cookies.
that I'll try to whisper tonight to him.
Okay. So you sort of mouth the word tonight to him, and he nods. The guard does not seem to take notice. Okay, Tarin, you've returned. You have now noticed, through your efforts and through your access to an arcane focus, you have made a pretty sizable dent in the broken up equipment that you were given to mend. Mending is not a particularly fast spell, and it's not a particularly efficient spell, but it's better than the nothing they had before. You've probably you've mended so many like small pieces of like rips and tears in the armor. At this point, you're so sick of looking at the armor. maybe some small hand tools that have been repaired, that have been in need of dire repair for a long time. And each time you use this focus, the focus is handed to you, was handed to you the previous day, I believe is 2-3 days ago, and it has been getting taken back from you in the evening. And each time you use this focus, you can feel sort of a warmth coming from inside of it, despite that it is a wooden object. Is there anything in particular you'd like to do today?
If I still have access to it at the moment, after like doing my mending stuff, I'd like to real quick run an Arcana check over the orb to try and figure out what the warmth is about, or like whatever check I need to do to figure out the warmth of the orb.
Okay. I'm trying to think. You go ahead and make an Arcana check, I suppose.
All right. Okay, let's see. 23 if
Okay.
yeah, my Arcana's 5. 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Yeah, 23.
All right. You, from your existing magic studies, you are relatively familiar with the use of magical foci, and the warmth generated out of this object indicates more or less that the object itself is imbued with some kind of magic, making it a focus. In your studies, it's usually been like crystals or like a staff or a wand of some kind that's used as a magical focus. This object seems to be more or less imbued with the magic, turning it into a focus rather than being magical in and of itself. What that means, you wouldn't necessarily be able to know just based on the magic that comes from it, because you're not detecting magic, or you're not identifying magic. You're just looking it over and reading the runes. But you do know that rather than being inherently magical, like most magical foci are, like crystals, it is an otherwise mundane object that has been imbued with magical essence to make it into a magical focus.
All right, that's interesting.
That's what a 23 gets you.
Yeah, it is. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to do until the hour of free time or however long.
Okay. Yeah. Anything else anyone would like to do before your recreation period? Okay. By the silence, I assume that's a no. Okay. So you go throughout the rest of the day, relatively uneventful, and you come to the evening time, right? Your recreation time. What would you like to do?
I would walk over to the table and wait for Kledash.
Okay.
And
so
I'll be
Tarin,
heading over there with,
the
I would
guards
assume,
have reduced in size.
I would assume Halen and whoever else if they accompany him.
That would
Alden?
Alden, yes. So, as you do this, as you two do this, you all take a seat around the table. I'm just gonna put it over here around these D4 just to make it easy. And you have Halen in red, and Alden, that's another red, in blue. And you all actually sit around the table. As this is more prisoners than usually gather, you do notice that some of the guards are sort of taking a keener notice of you. None of you have been causing problems the past couple days, so they're not moving towards you or making any sort of aggressive motions, but they are taking a slightly keener of an eye, keeping slightly keener of an eye on you.
All right. see. First I would go ahead and say, I found something odd about that door. It had an illusion rune on it, but I couldn't
If I could
feel
have
anything from it.
if I could have Kledash and Tarin make stealth checks for me, please.
Alright. Okay.
19.
15.
15. All right. Go ahead.
So the door that had the illusion rune on it, I didn't feel anything from it.
Alden sort of cocks his head. Interesting. Perhaps the illusion was dispelled, he says as he sort of twirls a bit of the dirt around his hands.
Quite possibly. They do also have an abjuration of some form or another.
Oh yes, that'll be the alarm then. Make sure that we can't get out of our dorm at night.
Yes, certainly.
And at this
As-
this is Alden speaking. Alden sort of turns his head and pulls his collar down. You can see a very large scar running from his neck down his clavicle and down below his shirt. Yeah, I made that mistake. Not again.
Alright. Note to self, don't go there. And anyone else have any findings?
Halen looks at the three of you. I don't know anything about magic. It's... Tell me what hit, and I'll hit it.
But would you happen to know of anything that might seem odd? Like, if so, I would like to try and take a look.
I'm sorry?
My character was just saying, if there's anything, do you happen to have taken notice of anything odd? As I would like to try and take a look if you have.
And at this, Halen shakes his head. Nay, I've been mostly keeping to myself. This one here. He nods to Tarin.
Kledash. Oh.
Nods to Tarin. Sorry. Sorry. No, nods to What am I saying? Tarin was just nods to Kledash. This one here seems to be the idea, man.
Oh, yes, you told me of those walls.
And Alden sort of leans in, listening very carefully to this conversation.
Kledash nods. Yeah, well, I was on shit duty. I just kind of poked around a bit. There's some walls that aren't walls, and there's a door that apparently didn't used to be there.
Most likely also illusions. Probably, if you found them, it was dispelled. Or maybe not the walls, but at least the door. I would like to go poke around those walls.
And at this, Halen sort of glances over at the two guards. I don't know how far you'll be able to get. That one, he nods at the one that's closest to you. No one gets in that door, except this lizard here. Oh, and only when he was taking care of our shit.
Oh, how did you get your way into that? As if I could find my way into that position, I might actually be able to find out more. How did you? So yeah, how was it you got into the position that you did to find those?
Kledash just sort of snorts, and he says, "Remember the day the buckets went missing?"
Was that you?
He just shrugs. I can neither confirm nor deny.
Yeah. Alright. So, I'd like to figure that So, aside from walls that are not walls and dispelled illusion doors, has anyone found anything else?
Halen and Alden look at each other and they shake their head.
Kledash, would you happen to have?
Nothing much. Mostly just found those two walls and the what looks to be a smelting pit of some sort.
Ah, yes, I saw that too when I entered the door. Of course, it wasn't in use, so I'm assuming, if you were finding it when it was working time, I'm assuming it was alive when you found.
Sure was. Bunch of guys smelting down that electrum and a sword?
Huh, sword, that might be interesting. They're making weapons. But they all have clubs, so I'm assuming they're not going here. I'd assume they're going selling them. I mean, you gotta find some way to keep the place running.
I guess so. Seems pretty expensive for a weapon.
I wouldn't know. I'm not exactly much of a smith. I wouldn't happen to know much about any of it. All I
And it's
know
at
is
this point
that
Halen
we have.
Halen pipes up a little bit. You might want to talk to Iacus. He's given free access to the spelting it. He's the one actually that you've been seeing melting down that electrum. Of note, Iacus was the one that you saw the first night who was given access to a knife so that he could whittle some wood.
Oh, you mean the Whittler? At least I think, if I remember names.
Aye, that's the one.
Ah, I see. Well, I might wanna try talking to him. Yeah, I might, since I'd assume he's much more of a smith than I.
Maybe. But listen, what kind of what plan are we trying to do here? What are we doing?
I'm not the one with the ideas. Kledash, what's your plan?
Well, I think there's something behind those walls. Hopefully, it's one of those things that Halen was saying that keeps people here. If we can find it, we can get rid of it. Hopefully, that can help us get out.
It keeps people here in what way?
Halen pipes up. Even if you get out, it seems that people, they get out of the walls and then they just turn right round and come right back. You can ask what's it, the tall one, the tall one who he hits the rocks, and this would be probably have to ask Deimos about that. He's the tallest one who breaks apart the rocks.
Yeah, Kledash doesn't know him.
Neither of you guys would know this person. You may have seen him around, but you wouldn't know him by name. And he, yeah. So Halen says, I've seen him. He left and he came back, and it was the strangest thing. I didn't even know how he got out, but he just. The next thing we knew, he was coming right back to the front gate, asking to be let back in.
Would I be able to try and roll like intelligence or something to try and figure out if I would maybe know what type of magic this might be? Like, since I'm not near it, so would I be able to roll for like what school this might?
I would say since you yourself didn't see it, it would be hard to tell because there's a lot of possibilities that would be rolling through your head. without seeing it happen, you wouldn't really be able to tell, unfortunately.
All I can tell is if it's magical and messing with the head. Actually, I don't remember specifically what type of magic that is. But that does seem like something we might need to check.
Just to divert slightly, Calder and Deimos, are you guys doing anything in particular this evening? I want to make sure you guys don't get left out.
That's more of a failing on my part, but no.
Okay.
I think I should probably start interacting with the rest of the group at some point.
You could randomly walk into us.
Well, you guys do sleep on the same floor. You guys all sleep together on the same floor in the dormitories. So there is that. In addition to you guys having come in on the same ship.
Yeah.
Okay, so as this conversation is going on, the night starts to wear down, and your time that you're allowed out comes to a close. The guards sort of usher you back up into your cells. You're locked individually into your cells, and you go to sleep for the evening, I assume.
Yep.
All right. The next day comes around. Is there anything in particular you'd like to do during the day, or will we just skip straight to the evening?
Actually, I would, because I'd like to start talking with the people, because like I want to know what's outside. You keep talking about like this mysterious force that drags people back in. I want to know why, because the cooks live outside, don't they?
That's correct. Yep, they did mention that they live outside the walls.
So
they haven't told
why
you...
aren't they being affected by this? I'd like
Okay.
to start pressuring them for information on that.
Okay. So the next morning rolls around. You go to prepare. Are you going to attempt to hide this conversation from the guard, or are you just going to fucking not care and say it outright?
Well, I mean, at this point, I'm just going to ask you, like, I guess, just what skills are available? I haven't played D&D in like 4 weeks. I've already forgotten what's.
In this case, if you're looking to mask the conversation, it would be a stealth check of some kind to talk quietly enough, or to like do something loud and try and talk under it so the guard can't hear you.
Well, I'm asking more out of curiosity.
Okay.
Like I'm trying to ask it in like a way of, oh, I hear this thing about they're trying to escape. You know, silly buggers. What is this all about? Then that kind of thing. I don't know why I'm doing that. That's not even close to the accent I'm using for this character, but you get the idea.
In that case, I would say make a deception check with advantage.
Yes, there is deception. I was just looking. Is there a deception? That's deception.
Yes, make deception with advantage.
Oh, at advantage.
Because of the amount of time.
15.
Okay. Yeah, so you can go ahead and have this conversation. I'll just let you know. Just good to know. I'll let you know what the results of that are.
Let me just. Okay. Do you want me to roleplay this conversation? Because
if you would like. If not, otherwise we can just roll through it. But
let's just roll through it.
Okay. You're having this conversation with Aitor and Eudora. Aitor, in particular, seems rather uncomfortable anytime you ask about things outside the wall. This has just been a recurring theme. Anytime you ask about either where they're from or what exists outside the prison, Aitor is uncomfortable, and he at first attempted to shush Eudora, but Eudora has pushed through and has been giving you information. They haven't told you exactly where they lived. You asked them about this sort of curse or charm or whatever it is. They look at each other and shake their heads. Eudora, I haven't heard about anyone escaping, to be honest. I didn't think it was possible. I mean, when we leave, you know, they let us out through the gate and we go home. It's not something that really. It's not something that we would really be paying attention to. Even, you know, we don't live too far away, and Aitor sort of nudges her and gives her a look, and she gives him a stern look back. We don't live far. I feel like if somebody escaped, we'd know, but in the last 15 years? I can't think of anyone who's escaped from Hestmark prison.
Okay. That's interesting. Right. I keep that information to myself until, like, the next
Okay.
time I see other people, and then I say, like, I don't know, let's just let the rest of the day happen, and then, like, maybe I should start talking to people. Like,
Okay.
actually do roleplay.
Alrighty, yeah, we'll roll through the rest of the day. Deimos, do you want to do anything?
I'd like to wait till nighttime just before we're all ready to go to bed.
Okay, just before bed. Alright. Kledash, you doing anything today special?
Not during the day, no.
Okay. Tarin, anything special during the day?
Mm,
Okay, so we roll through, we go to the evening. What would you guys like to do? I know, Deimos, you were holding off until, like, as you guys were going into the bed, so I will keep that in the back of my head. Calder, is there anything that you wanted to do this evening?
Where are we right now? We in, like, rec time, or...
It is now rec time, yeah. The day has gone through, it's relatively uneventful. Nothing special besides your conversation with Eudora, has gone on during the day.
Really? Okay. I don't know why I'm surprised by that. We literally just said that.
Of note, so I guess the only other thing of note, Deimos, you did notice Atha has made her presence known in the courtyard for the first time, not for a particular reason, but the same way that Kron comes out and just is there. Atha has done that now for the first time since you've been here. She doesn't interact with anybody, but she just stands there, looks at everybody, and goes back to wherever she came from.
Does
Kledash would have
there
noticed that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, what's up?
is there any way, or are there any particular subtle any sort of subtleties that would betray why she's there?
Make an insight check.
Stand by. Insight is a +1.
I just real quick want to know, would I have also
7.
Okay, sorry.
That is after the modifier.
Tarin, you had a question?
would I also take notice of Atha being there since I've been like keeping track of guard everything?
I would say yes. You would have seen her go out into the courtyard. So Deimos, you're with a 7. She looks like the same way Kron comes out, and just Kron relies on his physical presence and intimidation to keep people in line. Atha doesn't seem to do quite like that, but it was definitely from your understanding, it seems to be that she was simply reminding people that, you know, you are in prison and we are watching you.
Okay.
Whereas Kron would sort of be intimidating and up in your face, Atha just more stands back and just allows her presence to be known. That's what you would have gathered from your 8. So Calder, was there something this evening you would like to do?
Yeah, I'd like to see whether or not I can gather up the other members of the party and sit them down and actually have a chat with them for once. I
Okay.
haven't been doing that. I got to.
Deimos, what is the rest of the group doing this evening? I assume probably Kledash and Tarin are chilling somewhere. Unless you have something better to do, but...
Would probably try to sit at the table again and
Okay.
figure out some more strategies.
And then, Deimos, you said you were going to wait until the evening, so I'll just say you're off doing something, if that's alright.
Deimos is gonna actually... I'm gonna rescind that wait until bedtime. Deimos is gonna walk out into the the rec area, I suppose. Would be.
Okay. So you do see Kledash and Tarin at the table. Halen and Alden are there at the table with them. And then as more people start to come out into the courtyard, Halen actually excuses himself and returns back to his dormitory, leaving just Alden and Kledash and Tarin at the table.
All right.
The conversation that you guys had been having hadn't been anything of substance up until that point.
I'm going to go join them at the table.
Okay. And once again, since it is a particularly large cluster of prisoners, one of the guards, they don't walk towards you, but they do seem to be a little bit more on edge. More than likely, a large gathering of prisoners is something that they may not appreciate. But you haven't caused a ruckus so far, so they haven't made any moves to stop you.
All right. So yeah, I would notice Deimos sitting down and just, or at least I'm assuming I would, since
Since he's sitting
down,
down,
paying attention. Yeah. Hello there. I believe your name was Deimos, if I remember you. If I remember correctly.
That's
All
my
right.
name.
All right. So, what have you been doing around the prison lately?
Nothing much. Skating. Pissing off some guards.
I've, for the most part, just kind of been leaving them alone. They don't, since they don't particularly mess with me, I don't mess with them.
And
In any case,
of note,
Oh.
it was what was the name of the guard? Iron. So Iron and Delna were the two guards that were up on the sentry post with you. Both of them seem to have just been relaxed over time with you. They're not out here in the courtyard now, but those were the two sentries that you were working with before.
Yeah. So, has anyone been noticing anything new, or is there anything that's been noticed besides what all we found?
Kledash
well,
shakes
I
his
noticed
head.
our dear
I-
prison warden has made her presence known in the courtyard today.
Certainly.
I don't know
That
what's
is
up with that.
odd. Yeah, I don't know.
Kledash turns to Tarin and says, maybe you should check that rune again and see if it's been refreshed or something. I mean, being
certainly.
that she's an elf and all.
That is certainly something we should go check, or at least.
And then
Either way,
as this conversation is happening, Calder, are you coming out into the courtyard and seeing them grouped up?
Yeah.
Okay,
So
Calder comes out in the courtyard.
I take a seat down next to them and say, "Hey lads."
Okay.
I forgot the voice I used for this character now.
There are only 4 chairs, so you'd be standing at one end of the table. But
I steal a chair.
okay, you take a stool from the opposite corner where the 2 hobby people were working. One of whom was Alden, who was at the table. So
I don't steal a chair from someone that's sitting down right now.
no. I mean, in the opposite corner there was Alden and Iacus, and they both had stools. They were doing stuff in the opposite in this corner. Over here, when you first got there, you just take one of those stools because Alden is not sitting in that stool at present, and you bring it across, and you take a seat at the table.
Trying to remember the voice I use now. I'm using this as an excuse to think of something to say.
It was something Scottish-like.
God damn it. Howdy, lads. So, what the devil's been going on in this place? What have you guys been doing?
Well, I've been poking around. He's found some illusion non-walls is the best way to put it, apparently. And we both have found illusion doors. They didn't seem to be active when I was looking, but there was certainly something going on when
Actually, I'm gonna put him here.
when Kledash found it.
There.
Yeah, just
That's
some.
just your arrangement at the table.
Okay.
Right on.
Sorry. I sometimes my fucking Discord decides to like lag for a bit. So
yeah, so
was
we-
anything said?
We did hear what you said. I was just moving stuff to. That's just where how you were arranged at the table.
Yeah, I'm just making sure like no one said anything while
Nope.
lagged and I couldn't hear
Not-
any voices. All
Not
good.
since you spoke, no.
You're good.
right, good. So yeah, that's
haven't
what
been-
I've been doing.
I haven't been doing much. Just trying to skate and trying to keep my head down.
On
Things
that
like you
one,
guys have been.
On that one, can I have everyone at the table roll stealth, please?
Oh yeah, I don't want to be found out to be
Shit, that's my
escaping.
stealth check. Stealth check.
And
9.
fuck it. That
Oh, thank God, 16.
and then gotta roll back up to my stealth. 16.
Looking
Okay.
at a 12 after modifiers.
Okay. Good to know. I'll just keep that one in mind.
Oh no. Please say that wasn't a fail. This could go very south if that was a
Continue
failure.
continue on with your conversation. I'll let you know what happens.
Yep.
What? Sorry, what did you say?
Continue on with your conversation. Nothing has happened yet, I will say.
I know. I'm trying to say that in character, but I forgot the voice, so I'm saying it in character.
Sorry.
Sorry, what was that? I didn't catch that. I assume you. If you said the thing that I think you said, I don't think you meant to say it. I was asking is how you guys have been. I mean, I haven't barely spoken to you all, and you were the only people. You're the people I was captured with. I haven't been told.
At the moment, none of the guards seem to have taken notice of you. I will say that.
So yes,
Yeah,
this is
I
me
don't
trying to cover up for
exactly-
that.
I don't exactly think you meant to say what you said there.
So yes, this place is rather interesting. Although I'm not overly fond of the accommodation, but I'm just trying to make some friends. I realized I haven't been doing that as much as I should have been, considering the situation I'm currently in. So
yeah.
Although you did make
Yeah.
friends with Aitor and Eudora, so there's that.
Yep, but I need some other friends, like the party.
Choo
We haven't actually
choo.
shared any conversations outside of beating the crap out of one guy. So yes,
But that's the best type of conversation.
so yes, guys. Well, it turns out that the like the chefs and all that are actually real nice people and all that, and they live outside the walls and everything, which is quite interesting to
Yeah.
know.
Interesting. Yeah. So,
Kledash just looks at him and says, "Wait, they go outside and they stay there."
Yes.
Kledash looks over at Halen.
Halen's not here.
Halen
He went
is-
back to his cell.
Yeah, Halen is not currently here.
Oh, okay.
It is Alden who is sitting at the table with you.
Crap. Okay, so
Has
rescinded.
Alden said anything at any
Al-
point?
Alden has not said anything yet this evening.
So rescind that, and I'll say that, well, I heard that anyone that exits this place has to come back. So that doesn't make any sense from what I've heard.
Yes, I had heard that rumor.
Uh,
But so I asked them about that earlier today, in fact, but they said they haven't heard of anyone escaping from this place since they started working here.
Maybe it's some sort of Gaius specifically aimed towards those intending to escape.
That is a
possibly.
very interesting thought, and one that
Uh,
it definitely should be taken into
Certainly
consideration, but we
possible.
should maybe poke around about that a bit more.
Kledash looks at Alden and just sort of raises his eyebrows.
Alden sort of puts up his hands. I've heard the same thing as you. I mean, it was that the tall one, the one who's been breaking with you. Actually, he points to Deimos, the tall one that's been splitting the rocks with you. He does probably the best job out of all of you. This description would match Melanathios, one of the other people that's been splitting rocks with you. Very tall, burly human, dirty blonde hair. Doesn't say much, but he is easily probably one of the strongest prisoners you've seen. But the tall one, that's him. He's probably 6, almost 7 feet tall.
Which one is this again?
This is Melanathios. There were 4 over there working with you. Melanathios, Cadmos, Epimetheus, and Bernard. The one being described as Melanathios. You would know him by name.
Okay.
Just based on the amount of time you spent with them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've heard the tall one, he got out of the gate somehow. No one knows how. And hasn't said much about it, but he got out and he just turned around and came right back. He asked to be let back in.
That is certainly odd.
That is very interesting to know.
I'll
Is he the
I'll
only
look
one?
into it.
Is he the only one that's escaped, or at least attempted to?
He's the only one I've known. I've only been here for about a year. I mean, if what's that fucking dwarf's name? The Halen. Halen's been here longer than I. Maybe he knows about someone else. It's probably the most I've ever talked to him. You know, when I came here, I tried to be friends with him and he told me to fuck off. So, that's what I did. Doesn't seem like the nicest person, really, but...
I'll go look into
Yeah,
this.
I think-
I'll look into this thing.
Okay. As you're coming towards this, at this point, your hour of recreation is starting to come to a close. The guards are starting to sort of usher you back to your cells. As you're making your way up the stairs, actually, so Alden is sort of taking up the front. He let me say this. In what order? I'll say Alden's in front. In what order would you guys be walking up the hallway behind him to your dorm? Like, who would be going first?
I will take point. Deimos will take point.
Okay. And then who's behind Deimos?
I'll say I take behind Deimos.
All right, Deimos and Tarin, make a perception check for me.
All right, time to
Perception.
15.
Okay.
That is a very solid 16 after modifiers.
Alrighty. Both of you actually see this as he walks up the hallway. He mutters something under his breath and touches his hand to the wall, and you can see where his hand touched the wall. A very faint and very distinct handprint is left behind. And he glances back at you guys and continues on going up the stairs to his room.
So time is out, but wait, could I try and stealthily check with detect magic to see if there's any reason he was able to keep his, like you said it was in a wall, right?
Yeah, it was the stone wall, like, as you were walking into the... Because he's on the second floor. You guys are up on the top floor. As you were going up the spiral staircase, on the stair... Because there's no guards on the staircase, it's just at each floor. He touched his hand to the wall and left this imprint.
But rec time is up.
Yes, rec time. So this is as you were going back.
Darn. Sadly, I don't think I could instantly... Sadly, I don't think I could do detect magic fast enough, and I don't even think I have the ball.
I would like to see if...
So detect magic only has verbal and somatic components. There are no material components. Yeah. You can cast it without a focus. I will have you make a sleight of hand check if you would like to do that. Because you're doing this, there's a guard behind you and a guard in front of you. They're not looking right at you, but just so that you can say the words quietly enough to not be heard.
Yep. And I got a 16 after modify.
Okay. So you very subtly twist your hand in and mutter the incantation under your breath. And you can feel that arcane energy spark within your mind. And as you cast the spell, your awareness expands 30 feet outward, blocked by 1 foot of stone. You do not detect any magic currently active.
Darn. So all I know is that there's a weird handprint.
I would like to see
There was not one there before. This is something he placed there just now.
Yeah.
I want to see, or Deimos would like to see if, what was his name again?
Alden.
Alden, yes. He would like to see if he's doing this gesture, is he trying to sell us out in some really subtle way, or is this is going to help us?
Make an insight check.
Yeah, is he trying to help us, or is he trying to screw us over?
Exactly. So that would be make an insight check.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow, nat 1.
Fuck.
Oh no.
So what are your modifiers? Do you have a plus or
plus
wisdom?
1.
Plus what? So it'd
Plus
be a
1.
2.
Yeah.
For reference, just as so you guys know, the rules is written. There's no such thing as a natural 1 for a skill check. Right now, because your modifier is plus 1, 2, probably not going to find anything. But for those of you that have higher modifiers in other things, if it's a low enough DC, you roll a 1 and the total's like 6, and it's a DC of 5. Right, that's going to be enough. Natural 1s only exist in combat. Rules is written.
Okay.
Unfortunately, with your 2, you did see, because of your perception, he looked back at you guys. He didn't appear to be trying to hide it from you. But what he was doing it for is not, unfortunately, like, he was going up the hallway. There wasn't a lot of body language for you to go off of, unfortunately.
Okay. Sure.
Alright. So, we know nothing about this handprint. We are blind to, if we're being...
It's
Screwed
very
or helped?
So for reference, I'll just say as a part of this, through your perception, you just sort of like run your hand over it. If you hadn't seen it happen, it feels like you wouldn't even know it's there. It's very, very light. The depression is extremely light.
Huh. So that's not very. It could be bad. So just sort of finish up this area. I'm assuming we'd be up near our cells now.
Yep. At this
Yep.
point, you guys are back to your cells, and you are in the process of getting locked into your cells. Is there anything you'd like to do before going to sleep?
What's the guard presence like in the chamber?
I think I'm trying to remember. Were you paying attention to this, or it was Calder that was up that evening? If you like to stay up, currently at night in the evening, there's one guard on every floor. They're not on the stairwell; they're on the floor itself. Your guard in particular, because he's at the top of the stairs, has like a little wall that he can rest on. In the evening, after you guys go to bed, there isn't really a way for you to look outside your cells, but all you've been able to see is the one guard at the end of the hallway before the stairs. And then as you walk up the stairway, you see one guard on every floor.
Okay. Nothing to do this evening then.
Okay.
My.
So you all go to sleep, wake up the next morning, same as always. You get your basic breakfast, you're brought out and lined up in the morning for your morning check-in, and you go to your various tasks. Of note, Kledash, when you approach the table, Halen at the table, Halen tries to get your attention subtly, and the guard watching over you guys seems not to notice.
Right. Kledash sits down at the table and sort of makes a minor hand motion, like what?
Okay.
Not quite like a shrug, but more like a what?
Okay. So he leans down over the table. Listen, I went and looked at the. This is really hard to whisper with this accent. I went and looked at the wall, the door you were talking about. I've never seen anything like it. It on the one side, it looks like a door, and on the other. Now, of note, he is 3'6", so he's very short, shorter than you. But the other side, I went in and I closed it. If I didn't know it was there, I wouldn't have even thought there's a door. I mean, I got a little scared. I didn't want to get caught, but you were right. It was. Do you think maybe there's another way out of here than just the gates?
I think so. I mean, now that we know that the cooks can go in and out willy-nilly, and those smelting guys, although they don't seem to escape.
Oh, so specifically of note, the person who works in the forge and the person who was working as the blacksmith, you haven't seen them leave. You have seen Eudora and Ator leave in the evening. They cross the courtyard and leave out the front gate, but you haven't seen the other two leave.
Yeah, but didn't Alden mention the big burly dude left and came back?
Melanathios, yes.
Yeah.
Well, it's only been the one. Just that big fucker over there. He nods over, and you can now see the description matches what you were thinking of. He's a very tall individual. I didn't even even know how long he's been here. He's been here longer than me. I didn't think I give off the best impression. I don't talk to many around here, so. Oh, sorry. Wrong Mini. It's Erebos that's there at the table with you.
I'm not sure. But I definitely think we should figure out what the heck's going on with this. If we can figure out the right exit, or I don't know, an orb or something, a focus, I don't know. Whatever's keeping these people here. Whatever's keeping us here.
Well, you just say the word. He puts one of the rock. He holds out a rock, and and with one hand he crushes the rock in his hand. You just tell me where to go. I'll have your back.
Kledash nods. We should try to find Calder. He's the person who knows the cooks.
All right.
Later, though.
He's the fat one, yeah?
He smiles and nods. Yeah.
That one.
Yeah, the loud guy.
All right. Later. I don't know. I don't know if the guards are getting suspicious. They don't like so many of us talking in one place, so we have to be careful.
Kledash nods. Yeah, it was probably a bad decision on our part last time.
Well, I just know that I'll be here. I won't. Just tell me what you need me to do and I'll do it. I don't want to get any of you in any more trouble than you are already in. So you wrap up this conversation. Is there anything else you'd like to say?
Oh yeah. Also, we were talking to his name, Alden, last night. You guys both think that you guys seem to have pissed the other one off, but I can't make heads or tails of who hated who first.
He showed up on a bad day. We'll put it that way. He caught me in a bad place, and then never really had a reason to talk. We don't do anything together, so.
Kledash nods. Well, alright then. Time to play nice.
Aye. So the conversation wraps up. Calder, is there anything you'd like to do today? I'm gonna guess that's a no. Because I see your microphone's muted.
Sorry, I mute it because you asked us to push talk and probably get that set up. I don't. Is this work hours or is it still?
This is work hours currently. Yeah. Is there anything
Yeah.
you want to do today?
I was just gonna ask because I don't actually know how long the chefs have been working here. Now I think about it, because you were saying that like this guy escaped a year ago, but we don't know if anyone's escaped previously. I wonder how long the chefs have been working here.
Okay.
Because they said they haven't seen anyone ever escape.
They mentioned previously that they'd been there for about 15 years.
Yeah, so the one guy who escaped and then came back is quite suspicious.
Okay.
That's all.
Okay. Yeah, they sort of they stop and they think it's again, Eudora's doing the talking. It is strange. It is weird, right? It's this whole time nobody's even tried to get out before. I've never heard about the guards getting hurt. I mean, it's you know, we have some of the guards in our village that want to come here and Aitor shushes her. It's all right. The guards that come from our village even want to come here because it's how did they put it? It's a cushy job with all the benefits and none of the trouble. This place has a reputation of being easy for prison. It seems to pay well, but she calls over there. She says, "Hey, what do they pay you to be here?" And the guard just, "Enough." See? Even he doesn't care. So,
Interesting. Sorry, I'm just curious about how this is all working. I've never been to jail before.
well, hopefully you won't stay long. What did you do?
I'm not even. I haven't got the faintest idea.
Well,
There was no trial. I don't even know what crime I've been accused of.
Well, hopefully one way or another you'll end up out of here, huh? She kind
Yeah,
of
we'll see.
gives you a slight tap on the arm, in sort of like a playful kind of way.
Ha! Well, we'll see. I don't even know how long my sentence is.
Well, most of the folks in here, they're here for a long time. Well, if they survive that long. It's not what you think. It's just hard work, you know? Sometimes the prisoners can't handle the physical exertion, and it is what it is.
That's a non-committal grunt, because
Yep, yeah.
it's a non-committal grunt.
Alright, is there anything else you'd like to converse about today?
No.
Okay. Kledash, ready to talk to you? Deimos, is there anything you'd like to do today? I think, looks like your mic's muted as well.
Sorry. Yes. There is something I would like to do today. During work. Where is big buff guy? I would like to speak with him.
Melanathios. Melanathios is actually. So let me draw there's sort of two piles. There's a larger pile here that's like larger rocks about. You can't see. They're about 2.5 feet. They're about that big across.
Okay.
And
Sure.
then there's another smaller pile of maybe 6 inch, 6 inch to a foot size rocks. You've been put on the 6 inch to a foot size rocks because the guards are getting tired of your shit. And it seems that you'll be more productive chipping away at things that don't require a lot of strength. But Melanathios is working on the larger pile. He's actually arranged such that if this is the large pile and this is the small pile, we'll say they're just 5 feet for the sake of convenience. If you are here, he's actually right here. So you're basically right next to each other. There's just like a small rock between you and him. And he has a large pickaxe that he actually has a maul that he's been using.
Okay. I'm gonna lean over and I'm going to, with no particular regard to stealth, I'm not gonna try to hide this conversation. So I heard you tried to escape at one point.
And he goes for another swing and stops. Where did you hear that? Hits the rock again.
I don't know. There's some. I've been hearing rumors that some of the new guys want to get out. I mean, who doesn't want to get out of the prison, right? But I've been hearing some of the other guys. You know, I've been hearing rumors that you got out and turned right back around.
He keeps, as you're talking, he keeps swinging his maul and breaking rock. I do not know anything about that. It's been so long, I can't even remember. He hits the rock again. I've been here a long time. He shakes his head. I don't know if I'd even know where to start. He just continues to
Well-
break rock while this conversation is going on.
Sure. Well, how long? Oh, he mentioned that he has lost track of how long he's been here.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Okay. Well, what are you in here for?
Well, when you've got muscles like these, and he does a bit of a flex and slams them all down to a rock, just shattering it everywhere. Sometimes everything looks like it should be hit. Resumes hitting.
I think I understand. What tool have I been given?
You have a small chisel, and like
I have a small chisel. Okay.
How do I describe this? Have you ever seen like medieval hammers they're really just kind of a large misshapen mallet almost on the top of a stick? That's what you have. A chisel
Okay.
and a weird mallet. Melanathios brings the maul up over his head and springs it down on a very large rock, splitting it right in half. Rocks are a little easier than skulls, though.
Well, I'll let you get back to it.
He grunts in response and goes back to his work.
I think I've
Okay.
I'm
yeah,
just I'm gonna go back. I'm just gonna go back to skating.
Okay. Alrighty. Roll. You know what? You've been doing this enough. Roll deception just straight.
Just right? Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know? Oh, actually, then since I've been using it, but do you know what this? Do you know what I mean when I use the word skate?
Skate.
13, by the way. After modifiers.
Oh. Okay. Yeah. So you do that. The guard doesn't seem to notice that you're bullshitting them this time.
Okay. That is it.
Okay. Let's see. Tarin, is there anything you want to do today?
No.
Okay. So we roll over down into the evening time now. Are you guys gonna? What would you guys like to do for your rec time?
I'm going to go. I'm gonna go see if the rest of the party would like to. Actually, yeah. See what everyone else is doing. What everyone else in the party is doing.
Okay.
I'd
what is everyone else
start.
in the party doing?
I'd start making my rounds again.
Okay. So Tarin's sort of wandering around doing his thing. Make a perception check for me.
All right. So that is a 5. So that's fun. What do I see on a 5?
Not much more than you've already seen, unfortunately. You sort of make your way around. It's yeah. From what you can tell, you've seen everything there is to see. On a 5.
Fun.
Okay, so Tarin's wandering around. What are What are the other folks doing?
Someone said to me there was invisible doors. I don't remember who it was because I wasn't paying attention.
I'm pretty
I
sure
think it
that
was-
was me. It was yeah.
I think
It was either me or Kledash.
I think it was illusory doors.
Yes, that was the word. Not
Yeah,
invisible.
the illusion.
I think I'd like to take a closer look at those at some point. I do have detect magic of my own.
Okay, so you currently the only ones you may be able to access, the only one you've been told about, I should say, is this one over here. So if you'd like, you can make your way down that hallway. There doesn't seem to be anyone paying much attention to that hallway, so you do make your way down there, and you come up to it. You see what everyone else has seen. It's a wooden door about 4 feet tall. It seems to stand in contrast with the rest of the rock. It is flush with the rock, but it's not a door so much as just a couple of planks put in place to hold the space there.
Okay. I take a closer look at the door by poking it, prodding it, and just like trying to open it.
Okay, yeah, it doesn't seem to lock. It just kind of squeaks open when you poke it.
Okay. Well, I look past it. What's on the other side of the door?
Okay.
I can't remember what you were describing it to other people because I was totally paying attention.
Okay. For the purposes of this, if you open the door a little bit, you see what most of the others have seen. You go out, you see the closed gate on this side. You look across, you see the forge that is cold, but it still has a little bit of burning embers. There's an anvil.
Oh, sorry. This is the door to that area. Okay.
Correct. Yeah, you can look through into this area. Roll perception for me.
That's not very high. I think that's a 14.
Okay. You do also notice the lever that the others have seen right here. You just see it on the wall. You don't see what it goes to.
Damn, if only I had mage hand. I'm not a mage. Okay, well, that's interesting and useful to know. So that goes straight through, like there's no bars on that door or anything like that? I could just slide through into the smelting area.
So there are bars. There are bars right here.
Ah, so the door just opens onto some bars. So it's not really a door, more of a vent.
Correct. So it's it's like a double lock gate here and here. One double lock gate to get in and double lock gate to get out into this area. This goes into the center of that double lock gate area.
Okay. So it turns out it's not very interesting at all, this door.
Draw it full size here. So that's about what you see here, and then the door opens up like that, and you see a lever right there. This is to the smelting area, this is out to the courtyard.
So we can actually be inside that little area then?
Using this door, yes. And this is what you've seen so far.
Right. Odds are that lever would dictate that would be able to open those doors. I wonder if there's a respective door on the other side of the wall, because if there's one for this portcullis, I wonder if there's one for the other portcullis. That might be worth investigating, but we'd need to have more of a lay of the land. Because that goes straight into the smelting area, and the other doors go straight outside, I take it?
You've been told about this one and this one. The one that's over here is currently being blocked off by a guard. But you were told about this one. These two.
Yeah, so the other one, that goes straight outside, or does that go somewhere else?
You don't know.
The one currently.
Kledash was able to get up to it, but he only just figured out it was there, that something was fucky. He didn't go into it or do anything with it. He just noticed that what he felt didn't quite align with what he saw.
Okay. So that should be that's something we need to investigate. But you're saying there's a guard there right now.
Currently, yes.
So
Currently, there's a guard there in the daytime too. The only person who's been allowed in there has been Kledash so far, when he was on poop duty.
okay.
Poop duty.
In which case, I go back to the courtyard and tell him that there's is Kledash in the courtyard?
Is Kledash in the courtyard?
Yeah, he would be sorting rocks with.
This
In which case,
this is in the evening now.
Oh. I would say. If it's the evening, Kledash is probably trying to poke around with Tarin or someone else. Trying to
Okay.
I would wander over. To you.
Yes,
and I would
be
tell you
in
my
the courtyard
suspicions
at
at
this
this.
point,
Yeah, I'd wander back out into the courtyard
so. Okay.
Okay.
and closing the door behind me. Obviously, I wouldn't just leave it open. That would ruin the plan.
Where are you
Um,
guys right now?
I have no idea. Everywhere.
So the three of them, Tarin, Kledash, and Calder, have now met in the courtyard. They're like in the middle of the courtyard.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, then I start up a conversation and say, "Hi, I've just been investigating that little hidden door thing. It goes in between the two portcullises over there. It's entirely plausible we could use that to get into the smeltering area, but logically, the other portcullis might have a similar door, and I'm under the impression you're the one who's been closest to it. So if you do get the opportunity, take a look around there and see whether or not you spot anything of interest, as it were." Yeah. Information.
Definitely sounds worth investigating.
That it does.
Deimos, are you doing anything in particular right now?
I'm going to. There's three of them together already.
Correct.
I'm gonna wait until the no, fuck it. I'm gonna go join the little gathering.
Okay, so you make your way to the courtyard as well. So it's now the four of you in the courtyard together.
Hey guys, what are we talking about?
He just told us that the door actually leads between the two portcullises.
Well, if we're talking about juicy rumors, seems our friend over, seems our big friend that supposedly escaped has no recollection of such an event.
Really?
Huh. And maybe it extends with the whole messing with the head.
And I mean, I'm given this guy and his disposition, if I might add. That fucker's big, but I'm finding it very hard to believe that security isn't tighter than it already is. I mean, this guy sounds like a fucking psychopath. You know, just enjoys breaking things. That's what he says he's in here for, by the way. He apparently decided that breaking skulls was fun. In any case, though.
Definitely sounds like he belongs here.
Certainly.
But I'm beginning to believe that this rumor that he escaped is a little bullshit. Guy like him getting out, and the guards here, no casualty among the guards? Something ain't right there.
Most certainly, something's wrong.
Him coming back, sure, we can just chalk it up to, bullshit magic. Him getting out in the first place, and again, no casualty among the guards? Guy like him? No way. No way.
Yes, I wouldn't think there should be any cash. There should be him. If he was here for murder, someone should have certainly died.
So as you're rolling through this conversation, you are starting to come up to the end of your recreation time. Of note, you do see Alden is back where he was before when you first met him. Actually, he's sitting at his little stool, doing a little bit of manipulation in the dirt. Halen, you have not seen out at night recently.
Guess Kledash looks for Halen.
Okay, so you wander around. You actually find him in his cell. He's reading his book.
Okay. Kledash goes over to him and squats down next to him.
So, you find something. He's continuing
kind
to
of.
read, sort of like mimic reading his book. He's not really reading his book.
Okay. Kind of. We've been poking around some more, looking at those areas. I get this feeling that, I don't know, there's some areas that none of us have seen yet, and I feel like if we were to look at them, we get a better chance at it, but I don't know. Maybe we need to try to punch some walls. Kledash smiles.
He puts the book down and cracks his knuckles. Punch some walls or punch some heads.
Kledash nods. Yeah, let's see what we can do.
All right, you've got a plan then.
A bit of one.
Well, he glances over to the guard that's at the top of the stairs. Who is not really paying that much attention. You get the feeling that evening time is really more just making sure nobody hurts themselves than making sure anything else goes on. He looks over at the guard. So we busting some people. Yeah? When's that happening?
Kledash shakes his head. No, not people. Walls. Walls.
Walls, people. Fine. Point me in a direction and I'll go.
They exit the cell and Kledash goes left to the
Okay, so he follows you.
first wall. Okay. Then, as we come up to the wall, I would assume that Kledash starts trying to pat it down.
This one over here?
Yeah.
Okay. Make an investigation check. We are running up at the end, towards the end of our time, so
An
we
8.
may have to come back to this. But okay.
8.
Since you are physically touching the wall, once again, you do notice that you feel the surface, and it doesn't feel right. It doesn't look like the surface of the stone matches what is actually there. Halen, gotta look up his stat block real quick. Where are you? There you are. Halen, it pushes you to the side. All right, cracks his knuckles. Whack!
Ooh.
Hits the door, and you see his fist. You hear a cracking sound, and his fist goes through the wall. The wall appears to remain solid, but his fist goes through it. Well, he shakes his hand off. No, I never, I guess.
Oh.
And on that note, because it's 9 p.m., we will have to pick this up in 2 weeks.
All right.
Well, that escalated quickly.
So, let's see.
That was...
So, our next session is going to be the 18th, I believe. If nobody else has any other conflicts.
I am good.
Okay. So it's the same time, 6 p.m. Thanks to everybody tuning in. Thanks to Mind Cookies for giving me some bits. I still don't fully know what that is, but 2, 3, 4, 5. So thank you to the 5 of you who are watching. Hopefully we weren't moving too slowly for you. Yeah, I also run another session on Thursdays. We just had our session last Thursday. We actually had it on Friday because it was Halloween. But our next session will be on the 14th for my Thursday group. They're running a different campaign. So if you're interested, tune in then. Thanks guys for coming, and thanks guys for playing.
Yut.